Well, thanks so much for having me. My name is Nicole and I am really excited to tell you a little bit about Lean In and what we do. I work for the Sheryl Sandberg Dave Goldberg Family Foundation, and probably many of you have come across the book that Sheryl wrote about 7 years ago called Lean In. What a lot of people don't know is that actually alongside the book, she set up a foundation where we have a whole body of work that is dedicated towards helping women achieve their ambitions and creating a more gender equal world. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the programs that we run. Naming up front, I just think this is always helpful just to set out from the get-go. All of our programs are free. This is all free to access. So if you go to leanin.org, you can see everything that I'm going to talk about. We're very fortunate to be able to put this content out there for free, and really hope that you can leverage this and think about how to embed it into your gender networks. So what is Lean In? Well, we help women achieve their ambitions and work to create an equal world. As I'm sure many of you will resonate with, we want a world where people of every gender can pursue their dreams without bias or other barriers holding them back, where girls grow up to be confident, resilient leaders, where more women run companies and countries. We're driven by the belief that our society and economy would be better if women and girls were valued as equal to men and boys. And we do three chunks of work. This is our theory of change. We believe that our contribution, we can fulfill our mission that I've just described to you by doing three key things. The first thing we do is we address systemic barriers. We run a piece of research called Women in the Workplace that I'll tell you about. We run some original research based on things that we're seeing happening in the world. We run programs to fight gender bias, and we work to empower individual women through Lean In circles. So diving in a little bit, really high level. So I know we don't have a ton of time, but diving a little bit into women in the workplace. This is the largest study of the state of women in corporate America. Whilst this is obviously a piece of research that looks at companies in the US, we find that a lot of those findings are very translatable, particularly to UK organizations. We run this in conjunction with McKinsey, and we are in our 6th year. So in 2019, we collected information from 329 organizations, employing 30 million people, and surveyed more than 68,500 employees to better understand their day-to-day work experiences. The three headlines that I want to share with you today is that the biggest challenge women face is the broken rung. So whilst we can all acknowledge that there is a glass ceiling, and there's a conventional piece of wisdom that dictates that actually, maybe it's pretty equal until women reach that point where they're being promoted to VP, or they, hit the glass ceiling. What our research actually found was that for every 100 men who were promoted or hired into the manager role, so going from your individual contributor to your manager role, only 72 women were. So that bias and that discrepancy and those kind of deviations, they're happening much earlier in the pipeline than conventional wisdom would have us believe. So the biggest challenge women are facing is the broken rung. Opportunity and fairness are the strongest predictors of employee satisfaction. I'm sure that is no surprise to anybody here. And women's experiences are not universal. So women of color, particularly Black women, women with disabilities, women who are LGBT, they're not having the same experience as women overall. And this report starts to dig into some of those different experiences. I really recommend it. It's a really robust piece of work, and it's informed many of our programs. Also want to name some of the pieces of original research, and this is hot off the press. This was, we released this only a few weeks ago, and this is a piece of work that is called Working at the Intersection, What Black Women Are Up Against. And this really helps us to understand the specific experience of Black women. And this was created under the leadership of the Black women on the Lean In team. And it shows how Black women face vast obstacles due to racism and sexism. And that intersection is incredibly problematic. It helps you learn about some of the systemic racism that Black women face in the workplace, and it gives you some actions that you can start to take on your own anti-racism journey. So this is an evolving piece of work, and for anyone who is interested in learning more about those experiences and having the data tell you that story specifically around Black women, this is a great page to go visit. Again, you can access all of this from leanin.org. So moving from the research piece now to our bias programs, we have a program called 50 Ways to Fight Bias. lots and lots of gender networks that I've worked with previously, and lots of companies really appreciate this program. This program helps to educate individuals. It's designed for mixed groups, so men and women. There's a ton of different scenarios, so 50 different card scenarios. And what the program helps you to do is to understand the different types of gender bias that are at play in the workplace. So performance bias, maternal bias, likability bias, etc. And then in small groups, you come together and you read through these different scenarios. So one scenario that's featured on the cards is you share an idea in a meeting, or a woman shares an idea in a meeting, it falls flat. A man shares the same idea later and it gets an enthusiastic response. So it gives you a scenario. These are very, very relatable scenarios, and I'm sure I read through them and I'm like, yep, I can recall a time when that's happened. Yep, I can think of a time where I've seen that. And the idea is that using these different scenarios, it helps people to really objectively unpick them. And so in these small groups, you'll talk about the scenario, and it gives you a little statement on where this has come from, what the research tells us. So again, oftentimes when you're bringing people together to talk about bias, it can be an incredibly sensitive topic. People don't like to admit that they have biases. It is a challenging topic. So this program really helps you to look at it in a very objective way, and to use these scenarios to role play. You know, what would you do? What would you say? How would you push back against it? So once you've had that discussion, you flip the card over, and the card tells you what we recommend you do. Again, all research based. We did this program. We developed this program in conjunction with Stanford University and Paradigm Consultants. So it's a really, really tangible, action-oriented program that helps people to walk away not only understanding the different types of bias, but also understanding where they're seeing them show up in the workplace and how they can push back against them. So it's a really, really powerful program. And it comes in a range of formats. So we have physical cards that you can buy at cost price. If you don't want to purchase those cards, we have a presentation that's downloadable for free, which has all of the cards in it, but it's obviously in a presentation format. And we have a digital set of cards, so you can access it via your iPhone or tablet, so that you can kind of play around with them. And then finally, Lean In Circles. Lean In Circles are the backbone of Lean In. This is what Cheryl first created and talks about in Lean In her book. And they have grown and grown and grown. We have almost 50,000 Lean In Circles across 172 countries. Circles are small groups of women who come together regularly for real talk and for peer support. And obviously right now, circles are meeting virtually. Much like this format, you can see that it does work. Circles also work in a virtual format. So whether you're tackling challenges at work, whether you're looking for career advice, or whether you're seeking peer support, starting a circle with your friends or co-workers can help you get through this. And so just to kind of give you a bit more detail on what a circle is, circles are run by a leader and made up of about 8 to 12 members, and they typically meet once a month. So they're small groups really focused on peer support. And when you're thinking about a gender network that you're running, there'll probably be many programs that you're running already, mentorship programs, a whole variety of programs that and initiatives that you're running. This is like another initiative that you would run, and multiple circles would form under your gender network, as this diagram tries to illustrate. Lean In provides all of the meeting guides for your circle. So this is forming the circle is one part, but having something to talk about and having something to guide a conversation or thought process is the next thing. We have all of those guides. And we have guides on topics that are top of mind right now. So we have a whole series of meeting guides that we put together that tackle some of the situations that we're seeing emerge from COVID-19. So you'll see the example, how to be a good co-worker and leader during the crisis, staying connected to your community whilst physical distancing, how to advocate for yourself at work during COVID-19. We also have the anti-racism library that you can build into your circle discussions. And we have 2+ years worth of content. So when I've previously worked with gender networks, the idea is that you can build out a curriculum that your circle, that your whole variety of circles would use and leverage over the course of time. So you can see here, I've taken a selection of the different guides that we have, and you'll see that there's a really strong 6-month curriculum that takes your circles through a range of different topics. And I wanted to leave lots of time for questions and answers because I knew we only have 15 minutes. So I'm going to pause there for any questions and answers. If you do have, if you do want to get in touch or explore how you might want to work with Lean In, you can visit leanin.org. You can email me directly. I'm happy to share my email on the chat, and we're working with lots of companies anyway. So some of you I know are already here. So if you have any questions, please just let me know.